Yeah, so Tim McGraw, I'll tell you what, Mark just texted us and said that he's about to go into a Tim McGraw concert with his wife. He'll catch up with us in 2 weeks.
I mean, we are so much cooler than that, though.
Who in their right mind go see Tim McGraw? I'm not saying he's not bad. He's been around forever, but
right.
I just don't know. I would hang on the Knives Templars podcast and just tell my wife to take a friend. I guess some people are going to do what they do. So Eric's working late. Odysseer's racing home from the shop to get here. Did I say Mark's at Tim McGraw? What a kiss up.
Did.
Josh is racing back from Florida or somewhere. We all had to go back to work this week.
That's the truth.
Dave is wherever Big Hand goes. It's Eric, Dave, Odysseer, Mark, Josh. I guess that just leaves me and you, doesn't it, Jason?
I guess so.
Well, I don't.
Okay, so I had to. I'm not a country music fan, right? Like I'm a Gen X, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Metallica kind of alternative kind of guy.
So let me say that real quick. You're an alternative kind of guy. You're not. I did see the guy dressed like up.
Well, my flag is just red, white, and blue with one star.
I did see a guy dressed up as a fox, French maid at Blade Show. More to come.
That's a little different.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
I got a piece off of the wagon that Sam Houston used to take JFK to the moon.
Pinto sauce. I like that. Pinto sauce.
Pinto sauce. You're tuned in to the Knives Templars podcast. Featuring Jason Fry.
Yeah, I've been doing what we do.
Long time listener, first time caller. Eric T.R.E. Rivers.
Holy crap, I built something.
Mark Vasallo.
There would be a lot of places I would launch myself to.
Chip Carlisle. We've had a raccoon come through the screen door down in the family room.
I was a mean kid.
And Josh Ferrand. And now, broadcasting across planet Earth, it is the Knives Templars, coming to you live from Porkhouse Studios right here in Hartselle, Alabama, and scattered across the country. We are on demand, and it's time to sit back and enjoy another show on the KnivesTemplars.com.
Man, I tell you what, you better watch it because I've always got a recorder on, and when we were at Batson's and old Josh got a little too close to the barbecue with his rear end, and he hit that thing and let out that scream. I'm so glad I caught that.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for you to do something like that so I can get, we're all just sitting around here. Now, there was this lady that said, I think I've let y'all listen to her, that we're all sitting around here eating cakes and eating soups and getting fat and sassy, but that's her. I need something. I'll catch you at some point in time. Guys, this is Chip Carlisle, and I'm here with Jason Fry, and I must say, we are a podcast, the Knives Templars, and we are for makers, rising makers, even bakers, stabilized wood. That's my thing this week. I'm looking for stabilized wood, and everything in between. If you are a knife enthusiast or a knife maker or just interested, welcome to the Knives Templars. We are for you. Welcome, Jason. How you doing?
Howdy. Well, I'm an Indian outlaw, and I'm half Cherokee and Choctaw. But my baby, she's a Chippewa, so she's a one of a kind.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think somebody wrote that.
You don't know that one?
I do, but I think that somebody wrote that song for him because I think
They might have. I don't think he is. I think he's making that stuff up.
He's a baseball player's kid, isn't he? Tug McGraw's kid.
I don't know. Did he take the girl or did he leave her?
I don't know.
I mean, he's saying about don't taking her.
But that's a good song.
It is.
Yeah. I guess it's okay. Is there?
I don't know.
You know who I would like to see again? Randy Travis. I know Randy had his problems, but so did Johnny Cash and all of them. That makes the best country music. But I got the opportunity to see Randy Travis live outdoors a couple times, and it was so nice. There's not a song that he sings that doesn't touch your heart, touch my heart anyway. And when he had that stroke, I'm glad he's alive. Yeah, I'm glad he's alive.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
man, loved his grandpa. 3 wooden crosses and just everything he sang was good. But getting back to McGraw, I guess, his wife, and we're talking about Mark Vasallo, she came to Blade Show with him this past weekend and let him have fun. So I think he owes her an evening with Tim McGraw.
I think that's probably right.
I'm kind of hoping that he makes it home with her, that she doesn't run up on stage and latch onto his leg.
Fair. That whole "don't take the girl" thing, though, I don't know. Like, are you not supposed to take the girl? I think you should. Are you not supposed to take the girl to Tim McGraw because he'll snatch your wife? Like, I'm confused.
I could see Tim singing that to Tim. I could see Mark singing that to Tim McGraw. Don't take the girl.
Yeah, don't steal my wife. Yeah, I hear you. Makes perfect sense.
Well, I tell you, so we were adding it up because it's 6:30 on Thursday because I have to go to Kentucky. We have a Hatfields and McCoys convention on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I'll be up there that weekend for that because I'm actually my lineage goes back to that. I was part of the Carlisles, part of the Hatfield McCoy thing, and while we didn't fight or this or anything, we were conscientious objectors, and we went and hid down in the valley and handed out daisies and stuff and protested for peace. So, little known fact.
I mean, every good feud needs some daisies. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So I was speaking of. I wonder why they put that there. I was eating steak tonight, which is an unusual occasion, but we grilled some steaks, and my wife asked me for some A1 sauce, which was a little bit of an insult to my steak. But I noticed on the A1 sauce that it said that it was invented in 1862. And your daisies reminded me, it's like, here we are in the middle of a civil war. You know what we really need? Some freaking steak sauce. That would make it so much better. So you can pass out daisies at your feud contest. That would be great.
You realize they were eating hardtack and salt pork.
Right, and meat that was probably half spoiled, so they needed something to cover it up. But still, it makes a decent story.
That's how it came to be. When I'm up in Kentucky and thinking about this, being that you're the historical knife maker in our group, or historical properties, I should say, elements, properties, thingies. So when I'm up in Kentucky, or as I travel around, if I come across something that's memorable, probably ought to try and grab a piece of it or something for you. I never thought about that.
I'm always looking. So I got some whiskey barrel lid that had the Four Roses stamp on it. Wow. It was pretty cool. Got that from none other than Gil Hibben, a much more famous knife maker than most of us. Definitely more famous than me. So, I got some whiskey barrel from Gil Hibben, which was kind of cool because we had done whiskey barrel theme that time they let me on TV. So you just never know. I do want to do a cannon themed knife. So if any of our listeners are metal detecting types and end up with some cannon stuff, broken cannonballs or grape shot or cannon things, I'm always looking for weird historical doohickeys. I asked a guy yesterday. So there's a place called Washington on the Brazos, which is where the Texas capital was during the Texas Revolution, where they signed the Declaration of Independence.
Is that down south around Bryan, Texas?
It is down there. It's like kind of between Bryan and Brenham, Caldwell, that little area kind of. And I know a guy that's in charge of that place, and they're doing a bunch of excavations. And so I pinged him and I said, "Hey, buddy, you got any like real historical trash? Like, I don't want like real stuff. Give me the leftovers." And he said that their archaeologist is making them rebury everything. So if they dig up nails and coke tabs and old horseshoes and whatever, it's all getting put back in the ground. That's apparently the industry standard on archaeology, which makes it hard for guys like me that just want to make something cool out of it.
I guess there's a place.
But
I don't know if
anyway.
there's a place for that or not. I mean, because if you just put it back in the ground, it's not stabilized or anything. If you're able to get those things.
Yeah, but he's talking about like nails and things. So I used some nails from a house one time in a really kind of a cool knife. But to them, like returning it back to where it went is a piece of their archaeology, which again seems goofy.
That's what I'm saying. It seems goofy. It seems goofy because you're putting it back where it'll be lost to the ages. It'll be,
well, they said they would take out the artifacts that were useful, like the informative ones or the ones worth showing would go in the museum there. But it was all the uninteresting stuff that gets reburied.
They're just throwing away their trash. They're litter bugs.
I guess so. They sure won't share. They're greedy litter bugs.
Well, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Everything goes to rust. I didn't change the Bible or anything. I just made a little rhyme there. So all that steel goes to rust and works itself back in. Well, that's pretty cool. That you're open to me finding some things. I didn't know if there was that you had to find it or this, that, and the other, and you may not use it for 10 years until it hits you.
No. So correct. That's the trick, is that the stuff that makes a good knife with a story is where it is, and you find it when you find it and where you find it and how and from who, whatever. There's no rhyme or reason or pattern to it. And there's stuff I've had for 5 years or 6 years that I'm just waiting on the other stuff to come in, Don't know what that is
now,
either.
if I can get a box of Eddie Van Halen metal guitar picks, the ones that
I will throw them in a canister and make a really
and
cool.
I can do a Frank.
No,
I can do a what was it? The Frankenstrat. I can do a Frankenstrat scabbard for you with the red, white, and blue, and all that.
There you
red,
go.
white, and black on it. So
sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
I'm a big collaboration guy.
I'm thinking again back to my style of music, where all the people used to smash their stuff. Like, all I really want is like the neck of Kurt Cobain's smashed guitar. Like, I don't want it like a playing guitar, or like the one he used on MTV Unplugged or something. Just give me a smashed piece of one of the ones he broke. That'd be great.
What about the stock and the barrel from his Remington 870? Ooh.
I thought it was a Browning A5, but that's a little morbid even for me. It was a Browning, but yeah, that's a little much.
Yeah. The fact that you knew what it was, you are Mr. History. No, that is sad because mental health unfortunately took that poor guy, but he was a guy for the ages, and mental health and drug abuse, it'll get you every time. Anyway, he left his mark on the world, that's for sure.
He did indeed.
He did. Man, I am so excited. I'm going to send you something here, a preview of something that I finished up today. And let's see. Here it comes. What's your name again? Jason Fry? All right. I'm sending that to you.
That's what they're calling me
I'm
these
sending
days.
it to you as we speak. So I had to leave Blade Show early, and we're going to talk about Blade Show a little bit. Which broke my heart. But I was so excited. A couple weeks ago, I ordered a 25-ton hydraulic press from Clark Taplin, ClarkIronForge.com. And speaking of that, now's the time to tell you, if you're looking for a great press, 17, 25, 40 tons, and even some of his newly developed forges that he's coming out with. I've seen the prototype. It's beautiful. Go to ClarkIronForge.com and see what Clark has to offer. Clark Taplin has to offer. But he contacted me. He said, your press is ready. And I'm at Blade Show, and I'm sitting there going, so I said, I'll come over. I'll come over. He said, you can come get it Saturday or Sunday before noon. I said, okay. And I said, but I'm at Blade Show. It'll have to be during the week or whatever. And I realized I couldn't go during the week. So, which I'm glad I didn't. That's another story in a minute. But I I looked at the next weekend, and tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier, I'm headed to Kentucky this weekend.
Yeah, you going feuding.
Yeah. Actually, my son's getting a new place to live, and Dad and Mom's going up to help him and his sweetest lady. I hope he marries her. She's a sweetheart. They're moving into a new place. I think I shouldn't say I hope he marries her. They're in love. They just gotta go get married. But they're going to be moving to a new, bigger place. And here, I'm going to cough for you. I got sawdust in my throat. He's going into his last year in dental school, so they need a little bigger place now so that they can do their thing. And I'll be up there this weekend, so I wouldn't be able to go see Clark.
So why do you have sawdust?
Well,
Chip?
I'm coming to that. I couldn't go see. It's all about this press. So I can't go next weekend. So it'd be the next week. It'd be 3 weekends away. So I had to tell you guys, I must bid you adieu. And I went to the pit on Friday night. I hung out at Blade Show all day Friday and half the day on Saturday, and then shot over and picked up the press from Clark and brought that sucker home happy as could be, but sad I had to leave Blade Show early. And I will tell you, 25-ton press. I thought that's how much power it had to push down on something. It's force. That's how much.
Oh, that's not.
No, that's really how much it weighs. If you're 59 years old and trying to get it out of a truck,
if you try to lift it by yourself,
I don't know. Well, my son helped me, and we put 2 axe handles under it and lifted it up, and struggled just to get it to the ground without killing each other. Clark had a hydraulic lift table, and so we got it on the ground. We moved it into the shop. And there it sits on the floor. Now I've got to get it back up on. Well, I've got sawdust in my throat. I built a table for it to go on, and just finished that up at 6:15 today. And so when I get back Sunday or Monday, I'll be putting that 25-ton press up on there and start smashing steel as soon as I.
Man, that's a good looking table, Chip. So I'm looking at a picture of it here. Can I describe it for our listeners? He built this mega monster cart with casters so he can roll his press wherever he goes. He put a sheet of metal on the top so that he doesn't catch his table on fire.
The casters are on it because I will push it and store it out of the way when not in use. So it's probably not ever going to move more than 2 or 3 feet. But it just gave me the ability to kind of move it out. Because if I put it up,
that's super useful.
If I put it right up against a wall, I could only go as deep as the wall is off of the press. Yeah, so I can move it away. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I have my welder and my heat treat oven that way, and I don't ever move them, but about 18 inches. But it's important. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And he made it with a big old 3/4 inch plywood, some big old long screws, plenty of braces,
lots of glue.
Y'all thought Chip was just a knife maker, but he is actually a closet carpenter.
I learned real early, college degrees don't mean squat if you ain't got a job, and you can't eat. And
fair.
I learned to plumb. I don't have a certification in any of this. I learned to plumb. I learned to frame, and I learned to do electrical work. So if I ever had to do it, I'd have to be a helper. But I've done plenty of my own work and worked for friends over the years. And
similar, I did electrical helper as a kid, just again, so I'd have some skills. And then I've unfortunately got more plumbing experience than I wanted. Right, mostly from fixing my own stuff when it broke, but it's enough. Like I feel like I could plumb some stuff and not be too far off.
No, it's good. But you just got to the plumbing itself, and then when you're doing the drainage and knowing what the drop has to be and this, that, and the other, and the calculations for that. Mm-hmm. But you can usually find those things in books. In this day and age, you can find everything online. If you get an international plumber's code or this, that, and the other, you'll find it there. But but with regard to skill sets, we all pick up skill sets. I just I'll be honest with you. I went on and I looked online and I was looking for a cart that looked sturdy, and I was like, that's the one. But the one they had was a 72-inch long and 36-inch wide. So I just scaled it down. So it's 42 by 22. And so it'll fit in the area that I need. And like you said, it's got 3/4 inch ply. I put a piece of sheet steel, just thin 10 stock on the top, probably 30 seconds thick. It's pretty tight stuff. And then doubled up 2x4s, glued and screwed those together and locked everything in on angles, and then put 2x6s down on the legs and that's the thing I was trying to share with you guys is, I was a little uncertain by putting those casters with that much weight on it just into the 2x4s because those screws were going in real close to the edge. So I fixed that by adding a extra block. So I made a 2x6 by adding an extra 2x4 onto that, and then put 2x6s front to back on both sides, and then screwed my casters into that. And that thing's rock solid. I would say, the wheels are rated for 250 pounds a piece, so that's 1,000 pounds. But I think that table, from what I looked at, would probably be rated for about 3,000 pounds. Anyway, I'll put some pictures up of it later, and so people can see it. Some progression pictures.
So my next curiosity, now that you've got a cart, are you going to get a horse? Like, is your wife getting a horse? Like, I'm confused about the cart before the horse.
I've already got sawhorses. We're good.
Oh, sawhorses. Okay, that's a lot cheaper than a thoroughbred.
Yeah. And
all right,
they don't eat that much. But I will tell you, if I was looking for a horse, I could not find one at TR Maker, but you can find all kinds of great knife making supplies there. Since 1980 at tr-maker.com. UCell's offered high quality and fast service from Istanbul, Turkey. I ordered something this week I'm going to talk about a little bit later, and he shipped it on Thursday, and it was at my front door from Istanbul, Turkey to Hartselle, Alabama on Monday afternoon. So he gets to every country in the world. You need to check out his line of knife making tools. He's got grinders and all kinds of things these days. It makes your job easier, more precise. If you're over in Europe and you don't have access to some of the products we may have here, I also encourage you to go look him up as well. So you can't do without his products once you find them. And what I ordered a grinding jig. And it's like, Chip, why would you order a grinding jig? And I have to, you're supposed to say that, Jason. Ask me, why would you order a grinding jig?
Chip, why would you order a grinding jig?
Well, it's like this, I tell you. There's too many people out there that's saying, hey, I freehand ground that. I'm a freehand grinder. I never use a jig. I never. And that's fine. And I've watched a lot of people freehand, and I can freehand. But there's times when I want such a crisp line that I know that a jig will give me that. And people say, well, I can do that freehand. Well, that's fine. But a jig, Norm Abrams, from the New Yankee Workshop back in the 80s and 90s, that guy spent half. Every show he had, he was like, look at this jig I've made to make my woodworking easier. I mean, he was half jig show and half making something beautiful. So I ordered this jig. I had another brand jig, and I still have it, and it's good. But I think that jig is probably a copy of the jig that I ordered, and I wanted to get from the original, and that was UCell. So with that being said, when I want really crisp lines, I will use a jig. There's nothing wrong with it. And there's times when you can't use a jig. So if I'm doing an integral, or I've got a brute to forge, I can't use a jig for that. Just can't get it to fit up equal on both sides. So sometimes if I'm able to on a brute to forge and I get a nice flat spine, I can use my table, and I can set and just press into that with my thumb and pulling over there. And I think that you see a lot of people like, I've seen Tyrell and, who's that guy that, sells $20,000, knives?
There's a lot of them. You talking about
I am.
Who does a lot of videos.
Yeah, and I've seen him do a lot using his, tool rest. And so there's times when I do that. And then there's times when I've got like an integral. I can't do any of that. So I go in and I freehand. and I can get good crisp lines on that, but I have to be really careful. And you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. People sometimes get a little grumpy about the different kinds of technology that we want to use. It's like you're not really traveling unless you walk. If you have a wagon and a horse, you're traveling too fast. But if you have a car, you're definitely way too modern to be a real traveler.
Right.
Like, you know, the way I look at jigs and stuff is that all of that is just another tool. It helps you make things more repeatable. It helps you make things, like I say, sometimes more precise, but it doesn't get you there.
The guy that,
you know, that's just applications of technology as far as I'm concerned.
The guy that laughs at you for buying a jig as he turns to
his grinds are crooked.
Maybe not, but as he turns to his CNC or his come on, help me here.
Well, even his variable speed 2x72. Right. I mean, that's a pretty modern piece of equipment. When they started making knives custom knives got big in the 70s, they didn't even have variable speed grinders.
And there's not a lot of CNC in knife makers. I hear some guys using some of the smaller CNC. But what about a guy that turns to his mill? Well, how would you get a mill? Get out your hand drill and your files and go at it, brother. So of course you can.
Power to
it's
you.
just another tool in your arsenal. And TR Maker from Istanbul, Turkey provides them. By gosh, I ordered on Wednesday afternoon, shipped Thursday, in my hands on Monday morning.
That is amazing.
And every order I have with him is that way. Matter of fact, it makes me thankful to my Savior, Jesus Christ. And, you know, that brings me back to Redeem Steel. If you go to redeemsteel.com, they're made up of craftspeople of all sorts, blacksmiths, bladesmiths, metalworkers, woodworkers, leather workers, etc. And they use their talents to build homes for the homeless, give water to the thirsty, feed the hungry, share the good news of Jesus Christ, and so much more all over the world. Redeem Steel uses the works of their hands and the words of their lips to make a lasting impact on those they serve. And I will tell you, Billy got back from Blade Show, and I saw on Facebook that he was already out in the mission field again, teaching young men through his steel and ironwork, his message and the name of faith and religion. So, yeah, it's really good. I'm not ashamed to talk about Jesus.
Well, my post Blade Show testimonial is a little different than that. So we are. I've got a hammer in this weekend, big old Texas Knife Makers Guild group event. And there is a well-known mastersmith, I'm not going to say his name because I'm fixing to talk about his health conditions, who went to our fun party at Atlanta and came back with an exotic virus straight from China. So our number one grinding demonstrator for tomorrow got COVID yesterday. So they called in Mr. Fry, which is totally the C team compared to this guy. But I'm going to do the best I can to give a grinding demo tomorrow, which, again, like I said, it's got me thinking about grinding. It's got me thinking about jigs. It's got me thinking about how do I explain this to a person, right? How do you take 15 or 16 years worth of messing around and put it into a coherent methodology?
I don't think
we'll see. I'm going to give it a run.
If it's new guys and gals, you don't want to. I don't think you need to go too deep. I think you just need to plant the seeds and let them see a little example.
So it's a really mixed group. It's a really mixed group. So it'll be everything from I think I might like to make a knife to I've been making knives forever. Let me see if I can pick up something from this guy. Right? I mean, it's very diverse. So it'll be interesting. I, again, just got back from Blade Show myself. I don't have a bunch of stuff in progress to work on. So I pulled out, I think I even mentioned on this podcast one time, I have an old blade that was forged by a mastersmith that just to show at a demo, like this is where I stopped. Yeah. Right. So I thought, well, that's a rough forged blade. I can grind on that. I didn't have any rough forged of my own. So I thought I might focus a little bit on grinding from a forged blank instead of just from bar stock. See what I can do with that. I did bring a piece of bar stock too, just to mess with. I don't know. We'll just freestyle it and see how it goes.
I think you'll do just fine. I've seen your work. Hey, when I was watching the when I was watching let me put it this way. Let me start over. I hung out with Jason Fry all weekend at Blade Show. He was nice enough to let me work with him at his table on Friday, and
I was glad.
I loved it. And we shared a hotel room along with Eric Rivers, and while we were there, I jumped in his car. And if you go to season 5, episode 26 on on YouTube, you will see this crazy weapon that he made. And I jumped in the car, and when I was getting out, dang if that thing didn't grab my arm. Who here? Uh-oh. What happened?
Uh-oh. My wife's throwing books at me. But
well, anyway,
that's for real. She got me a book, though. It's
so
good.
I got out of the car, and as I did that, fill in the blank, the name of the blade, the Keylong G. So the keyline pie grabbed my arm, Keylong G, and sliced it right open. I thought I was going to have to get stitches. Now, realize I'm a baby. I went back and looked at it later. It was just a deeper scratch, but sliced my arm right open. And yesterday I sent these guys a photo of the healing process, and it looks like I may have a little scar there. And I'm so excited. Who here can say that not as the maker, that they have a lifelong scar from a forged in fire?
Lost my internet. That is no bueno.
There you go. And Jason has frozen. It's totally frozen.
What is going on?
He's excited. He's just sitting there. But anyway, I've got a lifelong scar from a forged in fire blade, and I'm just going to enjoy that and sit back with it. So we just got a message that he's got an internet blip, and Josh Ferran said he'll be here shortly. So while we're waiting for him to come back in, I'm going to go to this Pop's Knife Supplies. PopsKnifeSupplies.com. Pop's Knife Supplies started 40 years ago by James Poplin and has served the knife making community and industry with leading prices and actual shipping costs. Run today by Alan Searles, Joey Berry, and Dirk Lutz, full-time knife makers. Their focus is customer service and great prices. Check them out today. So getting back, so I cut myself on this particular, and I think it's pretty cool that I've got a wound from that. But if you go back and watch Jason's episode, you can see him using that particular blade. And he came in second place, but two beautiful, almost identical weapons at the end, and they both would keel, they both would cut, and they both totally did their job. I think Jason's developed a little bit of a bend in one part of it, but he ended up winning. Ended up coming in second place. So, Blade Show for me this year was a ton of fun. I had the opportunity to reconnect because you go your first year and you're overwhelmed. And the second year that you head into Blade Show, you seem to know a lot of people. Oh, Jason, are you back?
I'm back from outer space.
Oh, righty.
My internet decided it wanted a break. It was just tired.
That's okay, but remember that you're going to have 2 uploads tonight. So just make sure we get them up. So I was telling everybody that Blade Show, the experience for me, the first year that I went, I was just, in awe, like a kid in a candy store. Second year, as I was getting into, you went there and you knew some people, and hey, I'm not a rookie anymore, and you try to be a little cool around everybody. And the third year, you're like, eh. So like the third year, I was like, and you guys can laugh at this, I was like, I'm going to wear this hat and I'm going to wear my overalls this year because that's who I am, and this, that, and the other. And then I about sweat to death last year in the heat. Matter of fact, almost died walking to a restaurant. That's a whole nother story. But this year, I was like, I'm breaking it down. I got my Knives Templars t-shirts made, and no hat this year, and just kind of casually took it. Yeah, casually went around. So I didn't pick out anything. I just come as you are, and just casually strolled around and said, hello to people and got to meet a bunch of people I haven't met before but wanted to, and got to see some people I've seen before, and it's good to see them again because, you may talk throughout the year. You may not talk for the whole year. It's good to see them. So my list this year, I would say, let's see, the new people I met would be Emily with Emily's Casting Crafts. Matter of fact, she's picked up a sponsorship on our show, castingcrafts.com. Yeah. If you want to see some of the best scales out there, she comes up with all kinds of designs, or even for someone like me wanting to make a turkey themed knife, hunting turkey. I had her do turkey tails in acrylic, and I'll be doing something maybe closer to fall with that, either in a sheath or as the scales themselves. I'm not sure yet, but Emily with Emily's Casting Crafts, y'all go visit her and see what all she has to offer. That was she's a really nice lady. She's a really nice lady.
She's from some place that starts with a B. I can't remember. It's Belgium, Bulgaria.
Yeah, I asked her. Yeah. I think accents are cool, and I think that as a past Dale Carnegie instructor, we learned that people's names are the most important thing to them. They want to be loved and they want to contribute, and and being loved in their name is kind of like when you hear an accent, not assuming. So I asked her, I said, well, where are you from? And I love your accent. She told me, and I was like, oh, that is so cool. So sweetest. Not Swedish, sweetest.
She's Swedish. Yeah.
The sweetest lady in the world. Now, did I have any other new? I met Dr. Steele.
Oh, Laren Thomas.
Yes, I did. And I don't know if he looked. Fella. I don't know if he looked afraid. He had kind of, because I said, we're friends on Facebook, and that just means like,
I stalk you a little.
No, it's kind of like, oh gosh, I've got like 3,000 friends. I accept your friend request. I don't know who the heck you are, which I acknowledged when I said, you don't know who I am, but we're friends on Facebook. And I want you to know that, and this is where it got weird. I said, I saw how you lifted your wife up for her anniversary and with the photos and this and the other. And he's looking at me like, is this guy a freaking stalker or what? But I think it ended well. That was a wonderful meet there. I got to meet Frank.
Yeah, so I actually ended up eating breakfast in the hotel with Laren.
Did you really?
He was at the same hotel as us. So we hung out a little in the morning and talked about his upcoming writing projects and his dad, who basically invented stainless Damascus.
Right.
We talked a while. He actually wrote a chapter in my very first book before he wrote Knife Engineering. So I guess I can kind of a little, other than the whole PhD thing, I'm sure he did some writing, but I can kind of say I got him into the writing business.
Now, how cool would it have been if I walked into the elevator and Laren Thomas was in there, and after meeting him that first night, he'd been like,
then he would really think you were stalking him. Laren, if you're listening, we don't stalk you. At least I don't. Chip, I can't vouch for.
You can never vouch for me, but hey, if you think I'm stalking you, and I can get a giggle out of it, that's fine. But no, I'm not a stalker. Matter of fact, we were talking about the show about how I believe that people just need to, and maybe that's why I scare some people sometimes, because I don't believe in putting on airs. You know what they say about a monkey if you put him in a silk suit?
Still a monkey? I don't know. I haven't heard
that gorilla's still a monkey. So yeah, if you dress or you try to put something or put on airs that you're not, you're still who you are. And I always like to just be myself. And maybe it's the being myself is what scares the crap out of people. Sometimes I need to self-evaluate.
You're an interesting fella.
I am. It's like this guy's way too friendly.
For the audience, I sat next to Chip as he was helping me work my table for a little while. And that was quite an experience for me. So it was like a master class in how to talk to people you don't know. He was great at making that first contact and telling some kind of joke or giving them a little bit of a hard time, just enough to keep them engaged. And he sold a couple of books for me on people that were otherwise going to walk by completely. Actually, Chip, after you left, I did the same thing to a guy. He was wearing an archery shirt, a traditional archery shirt. And I said, "Oh, you traditional archer, come here and look at this." And talked him through the arrowhead knife.
Good for you.
And he bought a book. So,
it's got to be more than that. Just hey, how are you today? So I loved it.
That
I
works
actually
5% of the time.
I caught you that one time. You looked at the guy and you said, are those your keys in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? And I was like, Jason, that's not it. That's not quite it. That's not quite it.
That's not it.
But yeah, working in the forest as a forest ranger, I would always knew the things to ask, and it was go up to people that were hiking or backpacking or spending the night in the forest and say, well, what'd you eat last night? Because camping in the forest is all about what you're going to make for dinner and breakfast. And they always want, and they'd say, well, I had the biscuits and gravy by Mountain House. And I'm like, biscuits and gravy? I got my head stuck in one of those bags one time and had to have the Rangers come save me and pull me. That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. So, you just got to find something and go with it. And you've got that. You've got that.
Find that point of contact.
Yeah, you had to this year.
But I was impressed by you.
Yes, you did. Well,
in that regard.
So those would probably be, and then the Kyle Royers, the Tyrells, I saw Trolsky. He sold out completely last year, practically as quick as Blade Show opened. This year he sat. I don't. Was he still? Do you know if he still had knives on Sunday?
I don't know. I didn't get to walk around too much.
I would think he would have had to.
I don't know.
Saturday, as I was leaving, I walked by the show and said goodbye. And just briefly, I don't want him to think I'm a stalker either, but which I am.
You moved on to Laren Thomas, yeah.
Well, yeah. I still like Trolsky an awful lot. Love his work, but our changes in what we're going after as we grow. But anyway, he still had knives on his table. But I saw all of these guys, Kyle, Daly, and blah, 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 blah. It was a who's who of knife making. And Brandon, guys, if you're listening to this, we missed you this year. You need to be to the show next year. But what is it with Bidenomics?
I don't know, but if I had a Let's Go Brandon knife, as cool as that would have been, I'm not sure I could have sold it. It was a little bit of a rough show for a lot of people. So, it's kind of bad form to come on and complain. Nobody likes a complainer, but I can tell you that
it's not Blade. It's not Blade Show. It wasn't Blade Show. Blade Show was as exciting as always.
But across the board, I think sales were challenging for those of us in the middle. So I think the guys that were selling sub $300 custom stuff probably did okay. The factory guys did okay. The people with $500 to $5,000 range and up, we have a lot of knives left. Again, I don't want to tell other people's stories, but I know quite a few highly talented, very qualified guys I've seen make $20,000 in a weekend that didn't sell a knife or sold one.
I saw a lot of posts online, and again, nobody was bashing Blade Show. It was as exciting and as beautiful as it always is.
Alicia and them do a great job.
Yeah. It just didn't seem like people were parting with their hard-earned cash this year. There were a lot of people looking. The place was packed. It's just there was a lot of looking this year. Yeah, but here's the funniest thing in the world. You did sell a knife while I was standing there, and I kind of know the rules with walking up to a table. And number one, don't stand there and block other buyers. Number two, ask before you pick up a knife. Number three, please don't shave your arms. Okay, everybody knows that list. We've gone through it before. So as I'm sitting there, well, Josh Ferran's come on the show. Oh my gosh!
There you go. He's Josh of all trades.
Look at you! Look at you! Okay, we're going to come back to you in a second. You've been introduced. So I'm sitting there, and this guy walks up, and he goes down the table, and he grabs every one of your knives, and he goes
picked up every single one. Yes, he did.
Did. And I'm sitting there in awe because he grabs the tip, and he's kind of wiggling the tip with his finger. I hadn't figured that out. He's running his finger up and down the steel. And he's got his hands all over the knife, and he sets it down and goes to the next one. He picked up every knife on your table and did everything, everything except wipe it with his underwear. And I'm thinking, Jason's got to clean every one of these knives. His booger pickers have been all over him. And all of a sudden, the guy goes, "I like this one," and starts laying down $100 bills. And I was like, Oh, well, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. when you pull out the fat stack, you get some latitude. No, that guy. I actually sent him an email yesterday and thanked him for stopping by. And rules of customer service, right? If you have contact with them, thank him for coming too.
Yes.
I didn't know it at the time that he was going to be the only sale I made, but that makes a big difference. You got to thank that guy. So
he was coming in looking for you too. You too.
Yeah, he had bought from me before. That's how I had his contact info.
I see.
And he brought some friends back by the table too to look at some of the big ones. They didn't bite, but you could tell that's exactly what he's doing. He's like, "Hey, come here, guys, see this," And they were all asking all the right questions and getting me hopeful, and then but he gave it an effort. Thanks, Rob.
So yeah, my thing is don't be judgmental, Chip. Don't be judgmental. Don't kill the deal. Don't kill the deal. Because I about pulled out my my blade and pointed at him and said, "Quit touching his knives." And if I had, man. No,
so
he was
I had
a
a
good
fun
guy.
little moment. There was a little girl, probably 12 maybe, across the aisle from me, working another booth with her family. And,
was she over there at the grinders?
At the baiter table, yeah.
Yeah, the baiter table,
She got herself one of those Bali Song trainers that everybody was flipping, right? So the last day she was flipping that thing all out in the aisle all over the place. And she launched it over and bounced it off my table. And I think her mom was really embarrassed. I didn't care. It didn't bother me any, but just for kicks, I picked up my spear and kind of pointed it at her like, it was a pretty good moment. The mom thought it was hilarious. The kid was embarrassed, of course, but it was good.
Right.
As long as trying to make friends with your neighbors.
As long as it wasn't seated in your forehead. So, ooh, and as we mentioned,
I kept it safely away from the kids. I only stabbed you with it.
Josh, you were going to say that, but before I'm going to stop you. So, Fox Guy, the guy that dresses as a fox in decorative clothing and all every year with the butterfly knife guys. I'm not going to say I'm going to say butterfly knife. He was dressed in a French maid outfit with fox ears and a tail this year.
I missed him this year.
And furry wristlets and stuff.
I didn't see that, yeah.
Can you guys help me with how does he attach the tail? I saw him. I saw him from a distance.
Never know. It's like how many licks it takes to get to the center of a
Tootsie Pop. Don't say that with that. Ooh, I'm gonna say I'm not. I didn't. I saw him from a distance, and that's as close as.
So it was a French maid. It was a French maid.
He was a French maid fox.
Did he attach it to his wee wee? Did he attach it to his wee wee?
I don't think it was attached there, but hey.
That's the only French joke I got, buddy. Sorry.
I know. Duty de sweet, duty de soir. I learned that off of Steve Martin. It means I'll have a shoe with cheese on it.
So makes sense. Makes sense.
I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if it's even true. Josh, where are you rolling in from, brother?
Dude, I was in Mississippi yesterday. I was in South Alabama today.
Can you spell Mississippi? Can you spell Mississippi?
It's like IPPISSISSIM or something like that.
Close enough. That's how they spell it in Mississippi too. No, I got friends in Mississippi. I give them a hard time for being Mississippi State fans. But yeah, you're in South Alabama. We're in South Alabama.
Yeah. Foley. So not too far from the coast, and got to scan some cool, rather large aircraft components. And then in Mississippi, I scanned some automotive stuff. So looks good. I think there's going to be a couple of good turnarounds for that little investment of time. Kind of ran me through the ringer on the demo side of things, but I think it paid off in the long run. So we'll find out, see how it goes.
What's the benefit in scanning these things?
Inspection, checking, like for the automotive, they were checking for like flush and gap and datum accuracy and things along those lines. And then for the aerospace thing, they're inlets. So inlets are designed very specifically for airflow going into the motor. And essentially they take section cuts of this inlet to make sure that the profile of it is correct for airflow going into the engine. And so we're actually trying to replace a certain process with a scanner down there, and they were very happy with the process. Once I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to do it, but once I had a game plan, it's like a multiple hour long process. I scanned it in like I think 20 minutes on one setting and then 9 minutes on another. So like that's just.
But it took you 6 hours to set the equipment up. Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
Well, even no, like that's the thing is like even our equipment, the setup's fast. It's just once I had to figure out like how to do the process because like I'm not familiar with it. Right. Like I don't work there, so I don't know what it is. And so I had to do a little bit of learning as I go. But once I had it set up, like it was just like, boom, done. And it turned out great. So we're going to evaluate all of that data tomorrow. And it was good. But it was a good trip. Busted my butt, but I got it done. And so pretty happy with that.
Do you do any work with like pumping systems, like large industrial pumps and stuff like that? Do you see any market there?
Oh yeah. I've done a lot of like even in my past job, I did a lot of reverse engineering for like hydroelectric stuff. Where they had these pumps that were installed in the 60s and now they're starting to break down and we were scanning them to create CAD models that they could then take to a casting house and remanufacture those old impellers and things along those lines. So yeah.
Reason I say that
kind of stuff, oil and gas is big too. Yeah.
My son works for a large industrial pump supplier. So I didn't, and they do a lot of rebuilds and stuff. So I'll have to hook y'all up. He's more your age. He's more your age. Y'all could come over to my house and play.
There we go. Sounds good. Go see Uncle Chip.
Yeah. No, he's 28.
So Chip, that is a great illustration and a passable segue into one of the great benefits of Blade Show. Is that, we knew Josh did weird tech stuff, right? But we didn't know it was connected to the stuff.
That's a neat way of saying that's a neat way of saying Detroit nerd.
Hey, whatever works, man. If the shoe fits. He's a capable genius. No, but at Blade Show, when you're there, when you're in person, when you're in the pit or on the smoking porch, right, is when you learn stuff like that, right? That is we can be a little bit grumpy about the economics of the show, but some of that stuff is just not replaceable, right? There's no substitute for hanging out and just learning about people. And just like,
absolutely,
you guys just made a connection that maybe 6 months from now will result in somebody making a business deal, whether it's your son or Josh or something, right? Blade Show is all about that, right? You may end up talking to somebody that 2 years from now, you're like, hey, weren't you the guy with the thing? And you each make $1 million off of the deal, right? It starts with those contacts. If we didn't have a post Blade Show episode that highlighted that, we would be missing out.
Well, absolutely. Hey, I am Chuck Woolery, and we just made a love connection, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. People know, Ding. I don't even know if people know what the love connection and Chuck Woolery is anymore. I'm old. I'm like talking about like howdy doody. But anyway, hey, before we move in, y'all need to go out and check out Phoenix Abrasives. They were at the show, phoenixabrasives.com. Great products. Phoenix Abrasives offers great prices, selection, quality, and quick delivery. They have a complete inventory of belts, discs, rolls, wheels, and anything else you need to get the job done right. Enter Templars 10 at checkout and get 10% off your order. For real. Hey, so yeah, I'll introduce you guys, Josh. But I tell you what, you're exactly right as far as connections and getting to know people and what they do and finding those common interests and where it's a great networking opportunity. Even like so for me, I'm going to be heading over to my buddy's forge over in Mississippi at some point in time, just to see him, Adam Miller. I don't know if you guys know him. But he was at Batson's, and I want to go over and watch him at Baby Moon Blades and just see what he does. The guy's a knife making machine. and just a super nice guy. So yeah, that's what it's all about. Before we get into some topics and questions, though, I had to leave early. How was dinner Saturday night?
It was all right. I ended up going to this little Greek place with Mark Zaleski and Jim Cooper.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
We went and hung out and talked about antique Bowie knives and the Blade Magazine Hall of Fame and the process for getting into that, because both of them are on the selection committee, and had a nice visit over some souvlaki and feta cheese.
My future daughter-in-law is Greek, and her grandmother and her. It is the most delicious Greek food. At Thanksgiving, we made baklava at the house for Thanksgiving dessert, and it was so exciting. So I'm looking forward to this
big fat Greek wedding.
I don't know if we'll have that or not. I just want to go to the reception and eat. So I'll be good with that.
And eat the baklava.
Right.
Yeah. Well.
So I actually took
leaves
5 semesters of Greek in college. Big nerd. I don't scan things like Josh, but I'm not that useful at a Greek restaurant either, even though I can read Greek a little bit.
Yeah.
They didn't have just a ton of menu items in the New Testament. I'll have to get with Paul on that next time I see him. Bust his chops a little.
Well, let me say this: like an asteroid, not a hemorrhoid, an asteroid. Otis Pinto just dropped into the show. Welcome, Otis.
What's up, buddy?
Hello.
Oh, we're so glad you're here. Yes, we are.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So, Josh, where did you eat? Now, Friday night, you guys ate at some fish place, right?
Yeah, we went to it's kind of become a staple. The first night of Blade Show, we go to the Juicy Crab, and it's kind of like one of those crawfish boils in a bag sort of deal.
Yeah.
And really good food. We'll get together and eat there. And then the second day, we just kind of I think we went to the restaurant in Blade Show, like in the Galleria or whatever.
You go to Murph's, yeah?
Yeah, Murph's.
That's pretty solid hamburger, though.
Yeah.
Pretty solid hamburger.
Yeah, we got the peanut butter burger down there. That was an interesting experience.
We ate there, didn't we, Jason? Last year?
No, we did. Probably did last year. I didn't eat there this time, but I have before.
No. I think you and I went to Murph's one night last year. If I'm not mistaken.
We probably did.
Where'd you eat night 2, Josh?
I think night 2 was Murph's, and then I don't even remember what we did for the other one.
Shoot, Sunday night we jumped in the car, drove as far as we could drive.
Did you get in the apple pie moonshine a little too early?
Yeah, we had some of that, and then we had some regular and all sorts of fun stuff. But
I tell you.
It was good. Nobody got a ride on a luggage cart this year, so we were much more subdued, it seems like.
Yeah, I didn't meet my quota either. I had one little drink each night, and that was good enough.
I didn't have any drinks at all at Blade Show this year, so there you go. Otis here, I had dinner with you. Oh, go ahead. You only had.
If we're still talking about dinner, go ahead and.
Sure, we are. You only had. No, I want to know what you only had. Now I want to know.
I only had one crazy. Yeah, I only had one crazy table guest at this year's Blade Show, so we can talk. We'll follow back up with that.
Okay, I don't want to miss
Otis
that.
Here enjoyed.
All right, Otis here, you ate with me and the team on Friday night.
Friday night.
Yeah, at Santa Fe, I believe it was.
Longhorn
Steakhouse. Had a good dinner there. Had a good dinner there with your beautiful wife and Mark's wife and the guys. So I know what you did there. What'd y'all do on Saturday night?
We went to Cinco. It's a Mexican joint, pretty much across the parking lot from Longhorn.
Gotcha. So you got the burger there? Or?
Yeah, no. I went for some fajitas.
Chicken strips. Yeah.
you can never go wrong with fajitas. That is for sure. So Josh, you got me wondering now, but before you do that, I want to tell people, hey guys, go out to majesticforge.com. Majestic manufactures gas forges ranging from 2 to 5 burners, many different forges to choose from. Go out and see majesticforge.com to suit your forging needs. All right. I'm stopping the show right now. Tell me what happened, Josh. Tell me what happened.
So it's super mild in comparison to like some people's stories, but I had a guy walk up and they were looking at the knives and everything, and I'm like, yeah, if you like to take a look, feel free to pick them up and everything. And his son made the joke about, oh no, he doesn't need to pick that knife up. And I you always joke with your buddies like, oh, don't give him a knife, No, he was serious. The dude reaches down with this bandaged thumb that's about, I don't know, 1.5 inches in diameter. And he picks up my knife and says, yeah, I was at another table and I laid myself open on his knife completely by accident. And as soon as it happened, I just dropped his knife, and then he dropped my knife on the table. And I was just like, are you kidding me right now? Like, and it was the Damascus chefs that I had. Oh my gosh. He had that thing. He picked it up and he just like startling, like he reenacted it and just like threw it down on the table, and like my eyes got like huge, and then the dude or his son was there and his eyes got real big. And I just like slowly reached over, picked it up, and just kind of like held on to it the rest of the time he was at my table. And like the fact that he just like picked it up and was just like, yeah, this is what I did. And then like threw it on the table.
Did it again.
You had that Osage. You had that 27-inch Osage pig sticker that you could have impaled him with.
Yeah,
but you've already sold it, so you didn't want to damage it. I understand. So
you don't want to return a bloody blade for a customer.
So I stabbed. Right. We talked about stabbing Chip with my spear in the car. What I didn't talk about was I had this tiny little slip joint, like barely 3 1/4, little bitty slip joint, and I was showing it around in the pit, and a friend of mine opened it up and then closed it and stabbed himself with it, to the point that I went and got my super glue out of my car, like to help the guy get put back together. It wasn't quite stitchable, but it was a little sketchy. So, and I did end up selling that knife to my mailing list. So if you listen to this podcast and you're on my mailing list, sorry about that. My kids got hungry. I washed it off. We're good.
Knives is not a good combination, huh?
No. So, Otisir, anything good happened to you at Blade Show this year?
Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. It was an amazing time. I achieved all my goals, right? First one was getting to see all you guys in person, get to meet for the first time Josh and Jason and Mark. So that was pretty fun, pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
I was also able to make 2 trades. I traded a knife with Eric and I traded a knife with Jason. And to top it off, I was able to get my first 4 signatures for my guild application. So good to go right there.
Congrats, man.
Excellent time all around. Okay. No questions, man. Yep. Was amazing time.
Oh, it was excellent. It was wonderful. That was the excitement for me to see you bring those knives and get them signed off on. I couldn't have been more happy for you. It was exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was on one of the ones that signed off on them, and when you could look at a set of knives and everything.
Let me interrupt you. I have to interrupt you. And that wasn't a shoe-in because Jason's ripped my knife apart last year. So
no, I'm not a. I try to be a kind reviewer. I really do.
Oh, you
but
are
I'm
kind.
not a nice reviewer.
Kind.
I will tell you. So where I was going with Otisir's fine set was that the things that I could see, they were there, no doubt. but everything I could see was like 3 to 5 thousandths off, and I was a little jealous because I'm not sure I can pull that off every time myself. So very, very fine set, Otis here. Very well done.
Yeah, beautiful work.
Thank you.
The beautifulest.
I pull myself to the max when I'm working on these things. It doesn't always come out, but one of the things that I have to keep in mind is that this is being handmade, right?
Yeah,
basically freehand, and you're bound to have some sort of imperfection, minute as it may be, but they're there. So I mean, yeah,
it's very rare that you see a perfect one. I've never seen one of my own that I would call perfect. You get them as close as you can. And yours also, I would say, were very close. Very well done.
I was talking to Eric about this. I always strive to the max. It's just that sometimes I don't know if I'm pushing it too hard, right? But that's the old Pinto there for you.
I remember when you made your first leather sheath. Your stitching and your leather work is unmatched. It's beautiful.
Very nice. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Seeing it in person, it's very good work.
Yeah. No, you're hand stitching everything and your tooling on your leather, simple textures and everything. It just goes with the knife. And, you're a total package these days. It looks good.
I decided to go with the simple little, ray skin, maybe shark skin kind of texture on the leather. And instead of doing just a little piece, I'm texturing the whole thing, front and back. In my opinion, gives it a very pleasing aesthetics to
that. I think that's a great way. Yeah, that's a great way to explain it. It is. It's pleasing, and it goes with the knife very well.
Very complete.
Excellent.
By the way, did y'all see that I put our group photo as the group photo, and I took all the individual photos down on I'm about to say knife-maker.com, but you can go there too, guys. But if you go to knivestemplars.com, you'll see that we've updated our page about the team, and also we put the new group photo up there of us all at Blade Show, and it's a good photo to see us all together. Nice. Yeah. So
with some creative editing there.
I'm pretty good. I've been photoshopping since late 90s. And, of course, you take a photo. You weren't with us that first night, but you took a very similar photo in a similar spot on the next night. So it was easier just to capture you and put you in the photo with the crop. Nobody will ever notice it. Yeah. Yeah. So,
now they know you spilled the beans.
Yeah, you told the secret, man.
I ruined it.
Nobody would have ever known until Josh Knucklehead. No, it's just
what
fine.
I do.
That's why my knives look nice from time to time, because I Photoshop one really well. But what I will say for me, I'm going to be presenting 4 knives at the next opportunity. But to get the feedback on the Cobra sheath and the knife with it that I did this show from guild members and from some, I went over and saw. Who's our journeyman knifesmith? Chad?
Oh, Josh or Casey Brown? We got Josh Holtz and Casey Brown.
The guy from Holtz from Mobile.
Yeah. Josh.
To get the
one
feedback,
of the other Joshes.
Yes. To get the feedback.
How many of you are there, man?
There's a lot.
Eventually, you just become a Josh. The longer you make knives, you just turn into a Josh. And then at the end, when we're all Joshes, we fight to the death.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There can be only one. But to get the feedback I did on my knife from not only you guys, but also several other people that I presented it to, let me know to go ahead and start putting my knives together. So
let me talk about your knife real quick.
Don't you beat my knife up. The handle's a quarter inch short. Handle's a quarter inch short. Okay, I said it.
No, I'm not going to beat your knife up, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say right from where you started from to where you are now, you grew leaps and bounds like a lot, right?
Yep,
So
definitely.
I'm proud of you for that. You did
thank you.
wonderful job on that knife. I like the finish. I like the overall profile. But personal preference there. I would have only made the handle just a little bit longer, right?
Yeah.
But everything else, man, is spot on, right?
And I thank you for that.
We had that quarter-inch joke going all weekend after that feedback. So, I'm kind of with Otis here. I thought that
your
handle
tang
was
is too
just
short, so you got a teeny
little bit
tang,
short.
so you need to grow your tang a little.
My tang is long enough, but Josh Holtz said my handle was perfect. He said that handle is perfect. I tell him, I said, I know my handle's a little short because you guys had, told me all that. And he goes, no, this handle feels great. And I'm like, ooh. So I think it's personal preference, but I will make them a little longer because my wife always says your handles seem a little short.
Well, so Big Hand Dave would only grab with 2 fingers, so.
Yeah, so I played a little stunt on Mr. Dave with this one big hand. He had somebody make a sword for him for a cutting contest, and it had a kind of what I would call a standard handle with just a finger groove, but it was like 6.5 inches long, right, instead of 4 3/4 because it's Big Hand Dave, right?
I saw that.
And so I went and looked at this knife that Joey Berry made for Dave, and that was the only feedback I gave Dave was that the handle should have been a 1/4 inch shorter. And I was just totally messing with him.
So from here on out, it doesn't matter who makes what. It's always the handle's too long or too short.
Yeah, by 1/4 inch every time.
We just, handle it's either too long or too short, so we leave everybody guessing. Matter of fact, who was it that said your sword handle was a little short? Was that you that said that, Josh?
Everybody, and it's funny because historically the handle on my sword was about 1/8 of an inch too long, but for the sake of continuity, it was about 1/4 inch too long. And
you're talking about
people
that
would
sword
come
you
up
had
and
on
be
your
like,
table?
Yeah. So I designed it to like match. I had like 1-to-1 images of the swords that from that day. And I got the handle the same size. And when I ground it out the first time, like got all the profile done and everything, when I held it, I was like, dude, there's no way. There is no way. And so I called the guy because he wanted it pretty like historical, other than the fact it was a Bronze Age sword I made out of steel. But he wanted the dimensions and everything to be right. And so I called him up. I'm like, hey, man, I've got this thing ground out exactly to what it should be. And the handle is small. I said, I need to make it just a little bit bigger. And then, it'll still feel, snug like the original, but it's going to fit like, modern day hands, because we're a lot, we as a people are proportionally larger than people back then. So I made it 1/8 of an inch longer, and it was just enough to where like it's nice and snug when you hold it. And people would pick it up and be like, handle's too short. And I'm like, nope, it's actually too long. And then they're like, what? And I explain the whole thing to them, and they're like, oh, I never thought about that.
But
like,
think about it. When you're
some
in
things
battle,
are done for reasons.
If you're in battle and that thing's covered in blood, wouldn't you want that snug handle?
Nice and snug.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Josh, I was going to ask you.
It fit my hand perfect, but go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
Does there exist phone technology where you could go to some place like the Met or something like that and use your fancy scanny-majig and scan historical swords and stuff off of your cell phone?
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got yes. So
I heard about an open source scan of the bust of Nefertiti, which is fun to say. But they did that and made a 3D print rendering of that from one in a museum. Do we have people doing that in the knife industry?
Not that I know of. I know I almost brought one of my scanners to set up on my table and let people bring their knives over, and I'd scan them and send them a 3D model of it.
Told you.
But the like phone scan stuff, it does pretty good. it's not like super great for something like a knife. Only because you get into like, you know, your two sides of your scans will eventually do one of these numbers.
Gotcha.
Just because there's no control to it other than like just what it can see. But you could definitely do it, especially if it was like a larger piece with a lot more activity on it. Because without like, that's what the phone's relying on to piece everything together, is like the texture and like
the changes
of the piece, and then like the geometry that it scans in. And so if there's not like really good control for it, it has a hard time.
So something big, something and flat, like a nice bevel might be a little bit challenging.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes
Whereas
sense.
like a bust, right, you've got a lot of carving.
The
and
whole
shape,
thing is a contour.
A lot of geometry. Yeah. And so it locks it in super good. But on something nice and smooth and flat, those types of
but it'd be cool for like sword hilts and stuff, right? Like if you wanted to recreate the sword of Inigo Montoya or something, you could. That'd be fun.
Dude, I would love. I wish that there is like a historical arms museum somewhere in Mississippi, Alabama, or Florida that I could go to and try to convince them that they need to get a scanner to like capture this history.
So sneak over to the Bowie knife. Sneak over to the Bowie knife exhibit at the Arkansas Museum. I mean, that's only like half a day, or
right.
There's a place called Janney Furnace that was an old smelting furnace from the Civil War era. They have a museum there. I can't remember if it's in Alabama or Mississippi, but we've got a bunch of knives that belong to the Knife Makers Guild at the museum there, and it's all
that'd be cool.
Early Damascus stuff, Bill Moran stuff, and some of the early makers. That's a little closer to you.
I may try to set up at like Batson's next year or something and scan some stuff. And then, definitely. I think next year I'm going to have a scanner at my table and let people bring their knives over.
What's the price of one of those scanners? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah. We've got a scanner that starts at like $8,500, and then we have scanners where you're going to be $175,000 into it.
Okay, it's out of my price range, all of them. So leave it alone. Forget I asked.
Just put it on a copy machine and scan it to yourself, Otisir, from your place.
Right.
So.
Yeah, these are super high end, like metrology grade CMM. 3D scanners sort of thing. So they're on up there, but they work amazing.
So I got to play with an original Michael Price San Francisco Bowie that Mark Zaleski had. That would be a fun enterprise to scan some of those. I mean, truly irreplaceable classic knives. It's one thing to like scan whatever people bring you. It'd be a whole nother thing to scan like the Searles Bowie at the freaking Alamo or something, right? Like, or
that would be cool
to scan the Bowie #1 that's at Washington, Arkansas, like to get real precise measurements on some of the early historical originals.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
I've got a guy. Let me try to hook you up. That would be fun.
I was gonna say, if you know people, send them my way, and we'll set something up. And I think it would be neat. I think it'd be neat to be able to have that information too. And
So I got to handle
the measurements.
An original Civil War Bowie short saber kind of thing. It was about a 18, 19-inch blade, great big D-guard thing, but it was original, hand forged. You can see hammer marks all over it, and was not one of the known styles. It was kind of a one-off kind of a deal, but original to the period. And I had previously made one kind of like that, and mine was a solid 1/8 of an inch too thick, right? So there's some things that you can tell by playing with them that you can't tell by looking at the pictures, but you could if you had a fancy dancy 3D scan from Josh of all trades. That would be cool. That would be really dang cool.
For us guys, we just have to have them do some government work for us. It's code word for, hey, Josh, come over to the house, or I'm going to bring my stuff over to see you. Hey, Jason, I noticed I was watching your your Forged in Fire loops on YouTube today, and I noticed when you went into your shop and you had your grinder, it was Grinch Green. Is that the one you still have?
It is not. So that was a homemade grinder, and I bought it green from a guy that started building it and started having health trouble and sold me the parts.
All right.
But I finished it out. That was a homemade no-weld grinder, but was welded. And then I switched over 3 years ago now to the one I've got, the Wilmot. That was the original 2x72. When I first had it, it was 3 speeds with a shaft and some big pulleys and vibrated like crazy. And and then I finally ended up switching over to a VFD. That is why I so strongly recommend that you do that first if you can, because I have done the other way.
Facebook wanted to remind me of some photos from 3 years ago when I was grinding on that 2x42 that the guys on the time used to make fun of me for, but made some decent knives on it, learning. And but I'm so glad that 2x42 is just my gouging grinder these days. I use it to hog stuff, and when somebody wants to learn when somebody comes to my house and wants to learn to make a knife, I always put them on a 2x42 first. Let them start there. But if you're looking for belts and this, that, and the other, also or supplies to make knives, you can go to Maritime Knife Supply, MaritimeKnifeSupply.com. The Lawrence was at the show this year, had a lot of great things to show, and he's really involved with the community in such a wonderful way to get great products and service in Canada and internationally. Check out Maritime for great deals and service, steels, abrasives, handle materials, kilns, grinders, and other tools and equipment. Know that Maritime Knife Supply provides the knife maker with what they need to make wonderful and beautiful blades. MaritimeKnifeSupply.com. So, you guys want to move into some questions or some topics?
Sure.
We got a couple here.
Sure.
What do you got for us?
Well, here's a question that came in 2 weeks ago. The gentleman's name is David, and he says, if you could only have 5 tools in your shop, what would they be?
Only 5.
Screwdriver. Oops. Well, you need we're not going to talk about hand tools.
I could do without a screwdriver. I would say grinder, bandsaw, drill press, heat treat oven, and one more. Probably the mill. But I could just as well go with the power hammer instead of the mill. That'd be me. So you can make everything almost with just the grinder and a drill press. Bandsaw makes things faster. The mill makes things faster. Heat treat oven makes things more precise. That's what I'd go with, personally.
Yeah, this is an open-ended question. You could have so many answers for it.
What do you think, Josh?
Are we talking about of the 5 tools that we have right now, or
I guess we're talking
we would like to have?
Oh no, that's a good angle.
Yeah, and also we're going to call a tool a piece of equipment rather than. We're all going to have screwdrivers and hammers and stuff like that. So, this is what if you could only have 5 pieces of equipment in your shop, what would they be? And if you want to make one of those a tool, go ahead.
Well, for me, it would be my grinder, my drill press, now my press, my forge, right? And I still have room for another one that I don't have it, so I don't know. I stick with 4.
I think I would do the forge number 1.
Wait. Something came up. When we're talking about the grinder, are we talking the grinder plus attachments or?
Yeah, grinder and attachments. Yeah, and attachments.
If the grinder and attachment. Okay, cool. All right, that includes everything. Okay. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I think definitely the forge number 1, and then the grinder is like always the answer to this question, right? And then drill press, like you said, I would do the power hammer, and then I would do a chop saw. That way I could still make Damascus.
Yeah, I have a chop saw. Yeah, okay, that's my number 5 too.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, you don't have to say chop saw if you just use a hand grinder then, because then that's a tool versus piece of equipment. So.
Oof, I don't know, man. Hand grinder. I'm not a fan of the angle grinder.
I know
I'll
the
use
table.
Don't get me wrong. I use it just like everybody, but oof, I hate them.
Yeah, the
not a big fan. I use it some, but
I don't pull mine out hardly at all anymore.
Major surgery. I have a friend that required major surgery from an angle grinder incident.
Well, you have to put those guards on them.
Oh, that's spoken like a safety guy, but you're also correct.
Me. Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen where they've come apart over the years. With me, it'd be a treadmill. I'm down 7 pounds since the show, guys. I'm back on the plan.
What?
Down 7 pounds. And I've got
that's just because you took all of your swag out of your pockets.
Right?
No, I was carrying 7 pounds in my colon. I'm sure it's just I just excreted all of that. So now the first 10 pounds is easy. So I've got 39 to go to get below 200, but I'm dedicated. So okay, we'll go to knife making tools though. My swag table saw, my grinder, my forge, my anvil, and my press. Now I've got a press.
Yeah, you definitely do need the anvil if you're going to have the forge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can heat treat. I can heat treat in the forge.
Right.
Yep.
That's why I went with the oven over the forge. Because if it came down to it, I love Damascus. It's a lot more fun than stainless. But I also love being able to dead nut snail my heat treat. So I picked the oven instead.
Gotcha.
And you could technically forge out of the oven too. It just
it would take a minute, like 30 minutes between heats.
Yeah, I've got 6 hits in. I'm going to put it back in, heat back up, and go take a nap.
How many knives did you finish this year? 1, but I've been forging it every day, 300 days. Got it ready for the show.
That's exactly how it would go.
Went out and whacked it before I went to work, and came home that night, whacked it again, went to bed, and got up next morning and hit it for 5 more hits. So, all right, we beat that one up. I've got one here that's called "Stepping Up Your Sheath Game" as far as a topic goes. And I came up with this one because a lot of people hate to make sheaths, and I've got to the point where I've started liking to make sheaths because I wanted to make nobody sees the knife and we rely on that handle material to say, hey, let me see that. Otherwise, you just see the sheath and the handle. I thought, what is it about if you make a sheath that draws somebody in and then the knife comes out and complements the sheath? And they don't have to, and sometimes the association, like Jason's historical association with his knives, I thought, well, make the sheaths some total package. I don't think they always have to be that way. Yeah, so I was paying attention to a lot of sheaths this year, and as you guys know, I started off with a ostrich skin sheath. It was pretty cool. I liked the design, and then I went with the cobra skin sheath, and it really complemented, so many people asked about that sheath, and then I pulled out the knife and showed to them, and they liked the knife just as much. But I started one recently, and that is I reposed a Bigfoot in some steel and treated the steel almost like a stone wash. And that's going to go into my knife sheath that is going to have my maker's mark, which the Bigfoot. And then Clark Taplin gave me some Bigfoot mosaic pins to put some pins in there as well. So it kind of flows that way.
That's going to be really cool.
And I don't think everyone's got to have a theme. I think some of them's just going to be the artistry and the decoration of the sheath and how it comes together. But I'm really going to be trying to focus on those particular areas. What are you guys doing with the guard? I know Otis here talked about he loves that shark skin or ray skin look, and which is very classic and beautiful. Have you guys done anything where you stepped up your sheath game?
My biggest thing that I've done is just
you're the guy that had a sword. You're the guy that had a sword in a potato sack or a t-shirt or something. So,
and so by stepping up my sheath game, I made a sheath. So that was cool. What I like to do on mine is like I spend so much time on the blades, and like by the time I have the blades done and I send pictures to the customers, they're usually like, hey, I really want to get that, and so the sheaths, I've kind of come up with a way to do sheaths where it's a very keep it simple, stupid idea, but it's very clean. And so I don't have a lot going on with my sheaths, but they just have a very clean appearance to them. And there's just enough subtlety there, like how I do my stitching lines and then how I carry that around the whole perimeter of the sheath, even though it's not getting stitched. And then the way I dye my sheaths too, I'll do, instead of just like soaking it in the leather, which I mean, people who like are big into leather work will probably hate that I do this, but I like to do a very light dye on my sheaths. One, it keeps it allows you to get those lighter browns instead of like just the super dark deep brown. I'll do really light. I've got the little daubers. I'll do really light, quick passes all the way down the length of the sheath, and I'll just kind of progress across the sheath that way. And what happens is it ends up almost looking wood grain like when it's done.
Yep.
And I really like that. It's just something. It's a way that I can do sheaths in a timely manner, but still have that clean factor. Because like I try, typically my knives will try to be the most exciting part of it, right? But I want the sheaths to complement it in a way that it's like just clean and subtle and nice. And then you pull it out where you look at it and you see it's like, hey, that looks very like gentlemanly, maybe, I guess might be the way to describe it. But it's like, hey, that looks nice. And then you pull out the knife, and the knife is like some Damascus pattern or a very nice stone wash or a brute to forge finish or whatever with really nice handle material. And it just kind of like allows the knife to be the main attraction, but at the same time, it looks the part, if that makes sense. The sheath, edges are finished nice.
The sheath pulls people to the knife
and all of that good stuff.
Sometimes. So one time I pulled a little trick, and I had this great big Bowie knife with a nice hamon, and I commissioned a sheath and had a beaver tail inlay. Because the knife handle was Usyk, and I thought Usyk and beaver went together. And I think me and the 5 junior high guys really thought that was hilarious, and probably nobody else got it. But it was a nice sheath, done very well done. But no, so to answer the actual question, one tip that I didn't realize was important for a while has to do with your leather quality. Okay, so Tandy, good place to buy stuff, especially starting out. I use a bunch of their tools. It's where I buy all my thread and stuff. I've used a bunch of their leather. But if you're able to step up a notch in your leather quality, it really makes the presentation of your sheaths come out another level higher. So I've been a fan of Wicked and Craig. Personally, Springfield has got a good reputation. There are some other places as well. Herman Oak is a brand. But, if you can get beyond the entry level leather, I mean, raw material leather, it really does up your game a little bit. I wouldn't say it's magic. I mean, I'm still constantly trying to improve mine, but that's almost like switching to variable speed from a single speed. I mean, it's like it really, really is a major impact quickly, just from being able to buy the better leather.
When you get a good, you have to. When you get a good tan skin,
because you have to buy it as a side. Like I'm buying them as a side instead of just a single shoulder, right? So the expense up front is a little more, but the quality is there. That just makes such a big difference.
I buy a whole side now too, and I tell you what, when you get into a good piece of tan leather, man, it makes all the difference in the world. You actually enjoy it. And I didn't want to imply that every sheath had to have a theme, but the things you're talking about, the extra touches to make the sheath draw you to the knife, because you've got to have something that wants people to get in there.
Here's another little simple one that, again, I didn't invent, but I got from somebody that made a difference. So I hand stitch my sheaths after I drill the holes. I use a stitching wheel to mark the spots, like the little round wheel, tiny piece of cutter,
one of those,
spacer deal. So I use that to mark my spots.
Use that to set the strings after you're done too, right?
That's exactly where I was going. That's exactly where I was going. So
it makes all the difference.
It makes a huge difference. It's the kind of stuff like Chip's little signature under the bill of the crankbait. It's like that final little touch just makes it awesome, right? So if you use your stitching wheel and you drill your holes and you stitch it up, come back and run that wheel over that thread another time or two, and it just kind of magic. I mean, it just kind of magically resets everything and evens it out and straightens it out. And it's those little bitty touches that can sure make a difference. That's an easy one that I didn't think of for quite some time until somebody told me about it.
I hammer my stitches.
I've seen that done. That's a recommendation as well. Does a nice job. You don't get that.
I'll have to try the wheel thing. But yeah, I always go over my my sheath, like the edges and everything, and I'll hit it with the hammer, and it just like.
Yeah, little
everything like
hammer,
forces everything to lay very nice.
Do you cut a groove?
I mean, I've used my
for your stitches, or
before.
Yeah, you cut a groove for your stitches.
So. Yeah. And then when I hammer it, it gets nice.
Yeah, it flattens it all out.
Yeah, I use I will mark it. I will delineate where I want my stitching to go, and I will use a compass.
Yes, I've done
like
that.
A marking compass,
a divider.
And I will. My stitches are 6 millimeters apart, right? So 6 mils apart. I think it gives a real good look to it. Instead of having the stitches all clustered.
We're talking about
together.
Stepping up your game, but if you have no game at all, you can actually use a dinner fork, like out of your silverware drawer.
Yep.
And use the tines as long as you carefully space. Like if you overlap the last one, I use that some at the beginning to space holes. It's not as precise as Otisier's dividers, but it does work.
Well, you can get those dividers. You can get those dividers at Harbor Freight for a few bucks. Yeah, Otisier. I use a polyurethane, or I don't know if that's the material. It's a plastic hammer. It's a dense, hard plastic hammer that I use to set it rather than use a steel when I do it like that.
I use that little planishing steel.
Yeah, that also spreads.
Body workers. Planishing.
That also spreads out the thread a little bit and causes it to lock inside a little bit tighter. Also, so you end up with a nice.
Yeah, I think what it does is because I will chuck a very thick needle into my drill press. So I'm not actually removing any leather. I'm just pressing a needle, right, at high speed. So it pushes the leather out.
Yeah.
And when I bring that planishing hammer back in there, it will sort of closes that hole a little bit.
Yeah.
And helps to lock that stitches in there.
And guys, get good needles. I order my needles from Tandy. And I can't remember the brand name of them. It slipped my mind. But don't order your needles from China off of Amazon because you just sit and snap eyelets all the time. I will set and use a needle for multiple sheaths even before it starts to show wear. I've probably got 10 years worth of needles in 3 packs right now. And I'm joking, of course,
that's right.
I've got a ton of needles that'll last forever. So it doesn't cost that much, $10 for a pack of, 20 or whatever, but they just last forever.
They do.
They do. Hey, so guys, look at stepping up your sheath game to make sure that it brings people into your knives. Unless you have a good knife you don't want anybody to steal, and then do like Josh and just put it in a t-shirt.
Foolproof.
We saw something pretty scary, and we'll talk about it here in a second. But guys, if you go to Marabraid Grinders and Accessories at Marabraid.com, the owners over there, Eric and Kevin, they've developed one of the best grinders in the market. Their accessories and tools are the best. Take a look at one of their 3 packages, the Mastery Foundations, and get grinding to see what's right for you. I want you to know, if you're making your first purchase there on a single purchase, you can type in Templars20 at checkout with your email address. You'll get 20% off parts and accessories. I've done that myself and thoroughly enjoyed it. That's an amazing offer. So see at Marabraid.com and enjoy it now before it ends. If it ends, go see them. Guys, we were walking back from Blade Show on Friday night, and we ran into a scary sight over there at the Hampton Inn. I know Jason was with me and Eric was, but we saw the owners of Marabraid with one of their employees. I don't remember his name, but he was on that whole. He traveled across states with Eric to come over here, and they were on scooters, and they were silly looking. And it was 11 o'clock at night, and if there was a scooter drag race about to happen, that was it right there.
Mm-hmm. They were definitely having a good time.
Eric didn't have a sidecar, so he asked his buddy from Marabraid to get on with him. And what do we call that, Jason? They were front to back.
I don't remember. Yeah, they were pulled a hole or something. I don't know. It was a little iffy.
Nuts to butts or something like that, and they was just
something
a giggling.
Like that.
So
they were having a grand old time.
I actually saw that they had posted a picture of themselves prior to getting on those things. They were coming down the elevator, and they still had those faces. So it spoke for them all, and they hadn't even had anything to drink. So my point is, I told Kevin, I said, man, if I lived in California and I could keep up with you guys, I would put in an application right away just to sweep your floors. You guys look like a lot of fun. So you guys go out.
So I know another guy talking about scooters and craziness. Another friend of mine went to Blade Show and showed up with a bunch of stitches on his head. And again, I don't believe there was alcohol involved, but the night before Blade Show, they had stopped off at a friend's house, and they were riding electric bikes inside this warehouse. And apparently the electric bikes have a slow mode and a fast mode, and the fast mode is substantially fast and torquey. And so after riding around for a while, my friend said, "Oh, I got this," and he put it in fast mode and slammed himself into a door frame. I think he said 14 stitches on his head and another 6 on his arm. And then he ran a 5K the next morning, like a real actual 5K, which is also insane. That story has no moral, but it fits with scooter riding employees. So there you go.
Yeah. I had when I was at United Solar, who's out of business now, so I can talk openly. I was building a facility for them, and I had a golf cart, and me and my maintenance manager, we used to like to ride around. It'd probably be silly. I wore a white cowboy hard hat, and he wore a black cowboy hard hat because he always, he's the one that went out and gave everybody a hard time. And we were riding around on our golf cart, and when we'd go by, the construction workers were always dun 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 dun. Well, we had this place full of construction workers, and I went flying across there, and I'm talking to Jim at the time, and I look over, and all of a sudden he has this look on his face, and I look, and I run into a steel column a big facility steel column, and we both went flying forward in that thing. And I thought I had broken my arm, but it ended up not being. But Jim weighed about 250 pounds, and he went flying across and sliding across the floor. And we looked over, and I tell you what, when you do something like that in front of a bunch of steel workers in Detroit, let me tell you, you never live it down.
Never live it down.
So
not at
been
all.
there, been there, done that in a big building, and hey. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, I want to get these in. You see my nice shirt I've got on here tonight? I've got on my Two Bastards Ford shirt, and I got home and I unwrapped it, and I'm like, "Where's the arms on that thing?"
Oh, Frank doesn't wear shirts with arms, bro.
I don't have guys. Look at my arms. I don't have the arms to live up to that. I mean, hey, I don't have the arms to live up to that, and So Frank, I need my sleeves, baby. I need my sleeves. 59-year-old man running around in a sleeveless shirt and my side fat hanging out in my arms. So I've got to lose weight so that then I just look like a baggy skinny guy in one of these. I need some muscles, man.
Yeah.
I got to meet them at Blade Show this year too. That was fun.
They were good people.
Super nice couple.
I will tell you, I got a little nervous.
Folks. Absolutely.
I got a little nervous. I was sitting there in a crowd with Eric, and I'm not sure if Jason was there or not. Otis, I don't know if you were there, but maybe Mark was. It was Mark. And Frank walks up, and Nita, his wife's there, and we're all laughing and talking. And Eric's got on his Two Bastards shirt, and Nita's got on a Two Bastards shirt with spaghetti laces on it. And Eric looks at her and goes, "I need that shirt." Okay. And Frank's like, "Take it off right now and give it to him." And I'm sitting there, I'm not a prude, guys. I'm not a prude, but I'm like,
we were right by the Pops booth.
Yes. No. We were in the pit that night. This has happened over at the pit. We were by the Pops guys.
That's right.
So I'm sitting there freaking out that she's going to do this, and they were just joking. They're going to do this, and I'm trying to back out of it because I'm like, I do not need anybody taking a picture of me in the public with this happening and end up on social media or somewhere. And I was very pleased. I was very pleased that it didn't go down.
That Nita kept her shirt on. That's good.
And that Merrick kept his shirt on. Hell, I take my shirt off. I tell you, as you get older, I need a man's ear. You just need a man's ear as you get older. Y'all know what a man's ear is? Seinfeld fans? No?
I was thinking about that, yeah.
All right. Speaking of F&N, or Two Bastards, Nita and Frank, they've been supplying blacksmiths and bladesmiths with all of our hammer needs for 6 years. And if you're looking to choice of your next professional hammer, check out the genuine Two Bastards fat peens, hand-forged dog heads, and a wide variety of restored hammers and top tools from the U.S., as well as high-quality vintage tools imported from the UK, Germany, and Austria, not Australia. Check them out on Facebook or Instagram. Small pen hammers in steel and brass, mini swage blocks, jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, hairpins, etc., shirts and caps, handles, and wedge packs for your own hammer refurb. Got it right, Mr. Frankie. I said just what you wanted. Sounds good.
There you go.
Y'all go visit. I've got a Two Bastards hammer, and I haven't forged anything with it yet, just because I'm still trying to get this press table built and get everything. So before I can finish the next knife, it's going to be another week and a half. But I love that hammer. It feels so good. What were you saying, Jason?
I was saying I have not forged with one of Frank's hammers, but I did eat a very expensive, mediocre sandwich with him one time at a Hammer Inn. Out of a food truck that sold out of everything. So like by the time we got there, like they had two choices off of their whole menu. So we just made do, and it was 173 degrees outside. That was when I met Frank. He had a big shiny revolver strapped to his hip and was wearing a sleeveless shirt. And he's definitely an interesting guy. I just texted him to see if he's coming back. So that's actually the Hammer Inn I'm going to tomorrow. It's the same one where we met. So I don't know if he's coming or not.
Was he wearing his dress or his skirt?
No, but he's wearing his black sleeveless thing there.
Yeah,
Maybe his vest. I don't remember.
He was wearing his skirt with his hammer holsters at the. Some guys call them kilts. I like to call them skirts.
Right.
Yeah, some
potato.
Some people call them Kaiser blades. I like to call it a sling blade. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, Otis? Here,
I tried to snatch one of them hammers, but he wouldn't let me. So yeah, don't like it no more.
Well, you were trading knives with everybody. You should have flung him a knife for a hammer. You didn't trade a knife. You didn't trade a knife with me, Otis. Here.
Hey man.
Next time.
Sorry about that. There's next year.
I did see your trades though, and I think you got. And I'm joking, of course. I've got one of your knives. The trades that you made were wonderful trades. I loved seeing what you chose and then what you gave them. They were beautiful. Matter of fact, one of them was to Eric Rivers, and you can find him at theriversexperience.com. They'll teach you the finer arts of knife making. Join their community over at YouTube or the TRE workshop on Facebook or his website at theriversexperience.com. Visit him today.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're winding down. What's going to be happening in your lives here in the next couple weeks? And thank you guys for recording on a Thursday.
Yeah, before we go, let me tell you a little something fun that happened to me at Blade Show. It was really cool. I was at a table looking at a few knives and a dagger and a sword of a fellow knife maker there. And we're just talking, and he asked me to see one of my knives. So I gave him that long one I had for the guild presentation. The one with the sycamore handle, and
was that the kukri?
No, the kukri I left it at the hotel. It's a bit long for me to be walking around with it, Anyways, I handed him that knife, and he pulled the knife out. Oh, looks clean, very nice. Oh, this is nice. And as soon as he flipped the knife and he saw my name there, he's, oh, I know you. No. I know of you. I know your work. Good deal, man. So, that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Having that happen, and it's like, very, very interesting, and very, I'm very glad that happened. It gives me that warm feeling that people are actually seeing what we do.
That's wonderful. So. Yeah, we had a couple people walk up to us that were a little starstruck with the Knives Templars guys, and with Eric and I, and then one guy that walked up with Eric, and he just went gaga over Eric, and it wasn't, it was a little bit funny, just because there was a point in time when I saw Eric as celebrity more so than a friend. But this guy was just like, he had traveled down from Pennsylvania, and oh my gosh, he's seeing one of his heroes and this, that, and the other. And I was just like, it's just Eric, man. But it was so nice to see. And that's when you've had a good impact on people. And that speaks to you as well, Otis, here. When you've had a good impact on people's lives through your work or the things that you do to teach, or even here through the podcast and entertaining, and people approach you like that speaks volumes about your character. Guys, I want to tell you that Housemade, Brian Houseward over at housemade.us, I had on his newest shirt. He was very, very nice guy. Came home with some new rulers from Brian, as well as a new T-shirt for this year from Blade Show. And super sweet of him, because you know what? That costs money to get all that stuff made, and he just handles it out like popcorn. But with that being said, his logos work for it. And I decided it was appropriate to wear it to make my table yesterday. So I sat out there, and when I got done, I could wring the water out of that thing. So I did get it done. And guys, support him for all he does. Go over and take a look at his 2x72 grinders, forges, build plans, quench plates, and so much more. Go to Housemade Industrial and check out the Apollo Forge, especially a 2x72 grinder. You can get plans, parts, or the whole thing. Leave it up to you and how much you want to build. That's at housemade.us. US. Good guy.
So I do want to mention, talking about, I can't believe they just give that stuff away, right? we all received really nice shirts from Mark's wife, who works at an embroidery place.
Yep.
So going forward, we will be all spiffy with matching logoed polos.
What a nice shirt!
Yeah, we should make that like our official kind of shirt
uniform. I like the.
Maybe we should have him do some. I like that too, but I like the bowling or the mechanic type shirts too. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can get her to do some embroidery work like that. Maybe I'll pay for those next year or something. But that was a beautiful shirt. Matter of fact, he still needs to send me mine, and I'll pay you for the shipping, Mark. Just get it on over to me. After we ate dinner, our hands were full, and we were going to the pit, so they put them back in the truck, and then I left early. So, yeah, thank you, Mark, and thank you, Mark, family, wife, Peanut, and Squishy, too. Special thanks to Squishy for those beautiful shirts. Hey, guys, one last one to get out to you is Broadbeck Ironworks. Man, they had a cool little press over this year. We talked about it for a few seconds at broadbeckironworks.com. They have a very well-known, versatile 2x72 grinder. They offer build your own and fully assembled and painted grinders. Just go out to broadbeckironworks.com and check it out. When you're there, put in Templar's 10 at checkouts for 10% off parts and accessories. Did y'all see the power hammer that they had, that smaller one that runs off the little air compressor?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I got one of their fuller grinding setups. So they got they worked with Matt Stagmer from the That Works guys. To do these little contact wheels. And they've got like a sharp one, they've got a rounded one and a flat one, and then special belts that you run, and you can do like sculpting with these wheels. But you can also grind in like all your fullers and things like that on blades with them. And so I'm really looking forward to trying those out. Those will be good. They came very highly recommended by Matt Stagmer, which he helped me out on that sword that I made a lot. And if anybody knows about grinding fullers in a blade, and that's definitely Matt. He does killer work.
Did you see that sword on his table, Josh?
I had to get him. Oh my gosh. Yes, I did. That was insane.
Yeah, that was definitely one of those, if you have to ask the price, you can't afford it. It was like, holy crap. Yeah, it was very impressive.
I'm not trying to take low on that price, to be honest with you.
You know, I didn't ask because I couldn't afford it, and I knew that. But it was a very, very impressive piece. For the listeners, it was about a 30-inch Damascus sword, but it was wavy. What's the word for that? Like a Chris dagger, except it was about every other inch had a new little hump, and he had done it out for 30 inches in a row.
Wow!
And then an amazing, crazy, intricate hilt. With what little I know about knife making, it was 300 hours, 400 hours worth of labor.
Wow.
Just to get to that. It was very, very impressive.
I saw that Kyle Royer also had a beautiful sword on his table this year. Not trying to take away from the other one by any means, but it's just amazing, some of this beautiful sword work that you see out there.
You're just trying to suck up to him because you spit on his knives last year.
I didn't get close enough to spit on anything this year. I did not. I gotta get him on the show one time, just to surprise and just come in the middle of the show and have you guys and go, hey,
right.
Talking about some exquisite Damascus there was this Argentinian guy there.
Oh, gosh,
Two Argentinian tables there, actually. One, I think it was his first time coming to Blade Show. He had this quintessential profile of southern tip of South America knives, right?
Like a gaucho
integral bolsters. The bolster is, worked all the way around with ridges and notches on it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. He had a couple of blades there with feather Damascus, and a couple of them with wavy feather, right? Which is a whole nother beast, to do.
Yep.
And just an amazing, craftsman coming down from that part of the world. Great stuff. I mean,
great makers all over the world.
If you've never been to Blade Show and you like knives and stuff, you're seriously missing out.
Mm-hmm. Because you feel like you know knives because you know American knives or you know Instagram and YouTube knives, but it's a whole other thing when you get to see the knives from the South Africans or the Brazilians or the Argentinians.
And the cultural influences. Yeah,
I don't
cultural
know
influences.
if you were able to make it to this dude's table. His name is Sobral, Carlos Sobral, also another Argentinian.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see his builds and the intricate details on his handles? And just an amazing craftsman right there. So shout out.
Yeah, for sure.
When I grow up, I want to be like that.
Good deal. Well, guys, we have hit the 2-hour mark, and Josh, thank you from racing in from South Alabama, and Odisir getting to us as you were able to get to us over there in Laurel, Mississippi. Laurel, Maryland. I have to work in Laurel, Mississippi sometimes. But I will also say, Odisir, it's so exciting to have you back with us, and hopefully see you on a lot more shows here. We love you, man. Hey, Josh. I'll
be skipping on the next two.
Sure.
I'm not gonna be in town. So yep.
Well, the table is always got a space for you, man. We're glad you are here. And Josh, again, thank you for doing all that driving up, and Jason, enjoying everything you're doing to support us. I think somebody needs to tell you thank you very much for all of those Knives Templars stickers you bought and provided for us all to give out.
Yep.
When people are posting their Templars, posting their Blade Show stickers and stuff, I'm seeing those Knife Templars stickers in the mix here and there. So that's kind of cool. Guys, questions, comments, product reviews, show and guest ideas, subscribe or email us at thenivestemplars@yahoo.com. Don't be afraid. Send us a note or DM us on Facebook at the Knives Templars podcast group. Visit us at knivestemplars.com to stay up to date. I'll be posting some photos out there just if you're interested to see that new table I've made for the press. And when I get the press on it, I'll get that up there as well. And I want to thank Clark Taplin for getting that to me as quickly and as wonderfully as he did. Guys, this episode is sponsored by the Rivers Experience, Redeem Steel, Casting Crafts, Ameribraid, and Templars 20 for parts and accessories, Majestic Forge, Pop's Knife Supplies, Maritime Knife Supply, Housemade, and Phoenix Abrasives, and their Templars 10 for 10% off of your order. Additionally, Broadbeck Ironworks and Templars 10 off of parts and accessories. We are available on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, Anchor, Amazon, YouTube Video, and CastBox. Again, contact us at the Knives Templars at yahoo.com. Good night. And guys, what do you say?
Good night.
Good night. See y'all next time.
It took you a while. You're still tired from driving back from Blade Show.
Yeah,
right.
I couldn't hit
Steels.
the
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky, 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 oinky.
Oinky, oinky, oinky. I love that part.
There was like four oinkies in there now. So, well, guys.
Our pig is stuttering.
Yeah, he did stutter. That's all, folks, or however, I don't do a good Porky Pig, but there you go.
Yeah, me either.
Guys, it was a good show. I enjoyed doing that. It's always fun after Blade Show, but it's good to have everybody on here and having the fun that we do.
Mm-hmm. What do y'all got going this weekend?
Good to see everybody too. Like actually meeting Otis here.
Yeah, it's like y'all are actually real people, not just little squares on my computer.
Like, you see everybody on the podcast and like you talk to them and everything, but like, yeah, it's like, oh wow, yeah, you do exist.
Yep, good stuff.
Yeah, and everybody's pretty dang cool. Matter of fact, I enjoyed the group photo and even the one that I photoshopped you into, Josh, because that was really that was That was a legacy photo right there. That was a really good photo. Matter of fact, I'm having it printed out. I'll show it to you when it's done. I'll tell you 24 by 30 poster, and I'm going to put it under glass and put it up in my shop. So,
Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
Fancy.
Fancy. So I'm going to Kentucky to carry boxes down 3 flights of stairs to move my son into the same apartment or condominium place because he's going into his 4th year of dental school. So we're going to help him and his fiance to move that stuff into their new place. And they'll be there for at least a year, maybe a little longer, but they need more room for study and this, that, and the other. And I'm proud to say he finished at the top or right at the top of his class. He doesn't have the exact numbers yet. He's always been an overachiever, wanted to be a dentist since he was 3 years old. Literally, that's all he's talked about, and is just 1 year of doing his clinicals away from that, and now he's got his sights on becoming an endodontist as well. So shout out to Pat. We're honored to have you, and don't forget, I was talking about the my other son Cam. And I want to hook you guys up, see if there's anything you can do to, if there's any business there with regard to the pumping business. He works in the industry, selling industrial pumps to lots of big companies, big company out there. That's what I'm doing. Then when I come back on Monday, I'll be finishing up. I got to make a extension cord for my, press. My son Cameron has a hydraulic lift tray, or cart that will be able to lift it up and get it up there. So I have to lift it 6 inches off the ground to get it up the rest of the way and get that thing fired up and going and get him back to making that knife I showed y'all at Blade Show. That's all I've got.
There you go.
Jason, Josh.
So I'm taking off on my my 5th trip in 7 weeks tomorrow morning at 5:00 to get down to a Hammer Inn, a couple hours away. I bought about 3/4 of a ton of steel today from a steel yard. Pieces for rolling mills and power hammers, big, heavy, solid stock. I'm going to try to move some of that. Like I said, I'm the B team grinding demo guy, so I'm going to again do the best I can with that. It's always good to go to a Hammer Inn. You just never know what's going to happen. I've been to a few that have literally changed my life. There's a couple of times that I can think of where just sitting in the room with the guy, something clicks. And it's like, holy crap. Yeah. I know that now. I'm a better human being. I'm a better knife maker. I can think of a few of those out of the Hammer Inn. So
I can say that hanging out with not only you guys, but if you talk about locally and meeting people, I think hanging out with the Joshes and Gary Graham, I had that kind of impact on me as just far as just really good people that have an interest in what I do.
I met Gary for the first time in person. We've been connected on Facebook for a long time. Yeah. I met him at Blade Show.
Yeah, especially the things the things they do in their private lives. Farmer Josh and what is it? Program Logic, Josh Howard and Farmer Josh Ferran. Yeah. And I'm simplifying it, but because you're so much more than that. It's just so cool to meet those people and be able in my community and associate.
Arno Bernard from South Africa behind me at the show. And turns out we're in the same field. He was a school psychologist in his early life. So
nice guy.
Just never know.
Did he sell anything?
He did. He did pretty well. He had fairly simple 3-piece hunters, very clean and well done. He sold 4 or 5, and then a dealer picked up the rest of his entire inventory. Also learned a little something about South Africa. The government there will subsidize your trip if you're going to another country to promote your industry. And so because they have a knife manufacturing company, Mr. Bernard got to come over on the South African government dime. And so basically everything he sold was profit. So he was pretty happy with his good profit and a good weekend. It's not worth moving to South Africa to get free Blade Show, but it's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Otis, here, what you got going on?
I'm debating whether to do a simple now we say simple, right? Damascus knife, or if I should go with a Gomai build. So I started a billet yesterday. Got my first 20 layers stretched out. Restacked it today to 100 layers.
There you go.
Now I left it annealing before I ran home and took a shower. Got into the show.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should. I'm thinking about going Gomai. Having a 100-layer core, clad with some 80 CRV2, and then 100-layer on the outside, right? So when I grind it, I should have 100 layers with the interruption of 80 CRV2 with the 100-layer core, right?
Yeah, that would be cool. So you have a dark line kind of running through the center of the yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thinking about going that route. I just don't know if I should. I guess I won't know until I actually do
Only
it.
one
So
way to
I
find
think
out.
I might go ahead and do it. Just why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would do it. I think you should do it. Because every knife you make that you've been doing, every knife you make that you've been expanding your steel knowledge and everything, everyone looks just cooler and cooler. So go for it.
I really want to make this full tang Tonto that I saw at a table. Right, really aggressive profile with a super aggressive point, right? And I want to use some of that giraffe bone that I picked up at Blade Show. I think I got the perfect set. It's not too fat, not too skinny. I think it's just right. So I might actually work on it this weekend, and then I'll be done with knife making until July.
Gotcha.
Next week, about a week from now, I should be all the way up at the Yosemite, taking a few days off, going to visit my son in California, and we're heading out to.
You gonna go? You gonna go pet a buffalo? I hear that's a lot of fun.
Don't know. Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, you want to get your camera and get up real nice and close and just take a real close up photo. So
I like doing macro photography.
Good.
Yeah, if you scratch them under the chin, they twitch their back leg real nice. Yeah, like a little puppy dog.
Right.
Yeah. Just so you don't do that, nothing's lost in translation. Please use your long distance telephoto or whatever to take that particular shot. Josh, are you going to be catching snakes as he's putting something in his mouth here? Are you going to be catching snakes for your wife the next few days or what?
Hopefully those snakes that we found stick around because we have a bad problem with rattlesnakes around here.
Do you really? How many rattlesnakes have you seen? I mean, more than enough to count?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Yep. I luckily this year we've had an influx of black snakes and gray rat snakes, which are territorial and will drive the rattlesnakes out. So far this year, knock on wood, I've seen 2 rattlesnakes. One was right at the front door to my shop, and the other one was right in front of our front porch. So those were the only 2 so far.
Wow. Dude, I'd be moving. I don't mind snakes. Snakes don't scare me, but when they're coming to my house, I'm like, I'm gone. Rattlesnakes, anyway.
Where are you again?
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. So, in between Huntsville and Birmingham.
So you got the rattler, or you got the cottonmouth?
So we have in this area, we've got cottonmouth, we've got your timber rattler snakes, and then we also have the copperheads
and the coral.
Luckily, I've only seen. Yeah, we've got the coral snake too, but I've only seen on our property the rattlesnake. So I got one of them had a massive rattle on it. It was a monster.
It would be really cool putting that rattle on a knife sheath.
Yeah.
I think
I knew somebody who could do that.
I think I'd be walking around with a scatter gun at all times.
Yeah, So like the gray rat snakes and the black snakes, we leave them be, you know. But the fact that we have chickens and we've got our dogs and we've got cows and things like that, there's no room for rattlesnakes in that situation. So
you need to get you some mongooses and let loose on your property.
Yeah, 20 gauge works really well too.
There you go. There you go. Well, guys, it has been fun, and I think we are done. We are done.